2002, you did a Real Sports appearance
Brian Gumble.
with Brian Gumbel,
Yeah.
and you talked about how you quote unquote persuaded Yankees players who owed you money to affect the games.
Well, I didn't actually do that. They tried to get me to say that it was the Yankees. Now, I'm a diehard Yankee fan. The last
Okay.
team I'm going to hold accountable is the Yankees, but
The FBI has always kept secrets buried deep, but when they storm the home of the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan, the world stops. What evidence did they find? What connections were they investigating? And why has the most powerful sports league in the world tried so hard to keep this story hidden? In 2025, whispers have turned into shouts, and the truth about Jordan's past is finally surfacing. This isn't just about gambling. This is about cover-ups, murder, and the dark side of greatness. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear will leave you speechless. Picture this: federal agents pulling up to one of the most iconic homes in sports history. Michael Jordan, 6 championships, 5 MVPs. The man who made basketball a global phenomenon, suddenly at the center of an investigation that's been whispered about for over 3 decades. But here's the thing. This isn't new. The rumors have been there all along, lurking in the shadows, hushed by powerful people who had everything to lose if the truth came out. So, what changed in 2025? Why now? Sources close to the investigation say new evidence has emerged, evidence that connects dots the public was never supposed to see. We're talking about illegal gambling rings, debts that were never settled, and a tragedy that shook the sports world but was never fully explained. Michael Jordan's legacy is untouchable, right? Wrong, because what the FBI found inside his home could rewrite everything we thought we knew about the GOAT. Let's be clear. Jordan has never been charged with any crime related to this. But the fact that federal investigators felt the need to act in 2025 tells you everything you need to know. Something's been hidden, something big, and now it's all coming to light. Michael Jordan's competitive fire is legendary. He didn't just want to win, he needed to win. On the court, that made him the greatest. But off the court, that same obsession took him down a much darker path. Jordan wasn't just a casual gambler. He was gambling on everything: golf cards, dice games, you name it. And according to people who were deep in the underground gambling world, Jordan was in way over his head. Enter a man who knows this world better than almost anyone. A former illegal bookmaker who worked directly with professional athletes during the 1,990 seconds. This guy wasn't some small-time operator. He was running a network that had connections to multiple sports teams. And he had direct knowledge of Jordan's habits. In a rare interview, he didn't hold back. When asked about Jordan, he said it plain and simple. Michael gambles on everything, from what my experience is, what I was told, and people that know him. He didn't say Jordan was just betting for fun. He called him a big gambler, the kind of gambler who doesn't stop when he's ahead, who chases losses, who lets the action consume him. Now, this source never directly took bets from Jordan himself. He made that clear. But he was close enough to the operation to know what was happening. And what was happening was dangerous. Because in the world of illegal gambling, debts don't just disappear. They get collected one way or another. The timeline here is critical. During the early 1,990 seconds, Jordan was at the absolute peak of his career. He was winning championships, signing endorsement deals worth hundreds of millions, and becoming a global icon. But behind the scenes, there were whispers. Whispers about high-stakes poker games. Whispers about trips to Atlantic City, where Jordan would lose 6 figures in a single night. Whispers about debts that were piling up. And here's the thing. The sports league knew. They had to. Because when you're the face of a billion-dollar industry, people are watching you. And when those people start hearing that you're gambling with the wrong crowd, alarms go off. The question is, what did they do about it? Did they protect Jordan? Did they cover it up? Or did they just look the other way and hope it would all blow over? Spoiler alert, it didn't blow over.
Well, you spoke on the Michael Jordan situation.
yeah.
How involved were you, in terms of your, well, I'm not going to say your involvement, but how much did you know about that whole situation? Because Jordan himself was a serious gambler.
Yes.
You actually referred to him as a degenerate gambler.
He's a big gambler. Big. I mean, Michael gambles on everything from what my experiences, what I was told, and people that know him, yes.
Okay. Did you personally know him at all or no?
I met him. I met him actually at an NBA deal that we had, an event, yeah.
Okay. But he never gambled with you?
With me, no.
Okay. So he had this serious gambling problem, and then his father gets murdered. and there was always speculation if one had something to do with the other. From what you know,
Again, I don't have firsthand knowledge of this, but being that I was working with the NBA at that time, I was told two things. One, that he was told to leave the NBA around the time that his father got murdered because stories were about to come out, and there was a lot of heat on the fact that because of Michael's gambling habit, his father paid the price. And the NBA didn't want the press, so they asked him to leave for a while. That's when he went to play baseball. And then when things settled down, he came back. The plan was always, from what I was told,
The 23rd of July, 1993. That's the date that changed everything. Michael Jordan's father, James Jordan, was driving home late at night when he pulled over to rest at a highway rest stop in North Carolina. What happened next was reported as a random act of violence. Two young men robbed and killed him, then dumped his body in a swamp. The two men were eventually caught, convicted, and sentenced to life in prison. Case closed, right? Not even close. Because almost immediately, people started asking questions. Why was James Jordan targeted? Was it really just a random robbery, or was there something more to it? The official story never sat right with a lot of people, especially those who knew about Michael's gambling problem. The source who ran the illegal gambling operation was asked directly about this, and what he said was chilling. He didn't claim to have first-hand knowledge, but he was working with athletes at that exact time, and he heard things. He heard from people inside the sports world, people who would know. And what they told him was this: I was told his father paid the price because of Michael's gambling habit. Let that sink in for a second. This isn't just conspiracy theory talk. This is someone who was connected to the gambling underworld, who worked with professional athletes, who understood how debts get settled when money doesn't change hands. And he's saying that James Jordan's murder wasn't random. It was connected to Michael's gambling. Now, he's careful to say he doesn't know the exact details. He doesn't know if it was about unpaid debt specifically, or if it was a message, or what. But he's absolutely clear on one thing. I was led to believe it had something to do with his gambling problem. Think about the implications here. If this is true, it means that Michael Jordan's obsession with gambling didn't just affect him, it got his father killed. And the people who did it, they were sending a message that said, pay up or else. But here's where it gets even darker. Because less than 3 months after his father's murder, Michael Jordan did something that shocked the entire world. The 6th of October 1993, Michael Jordan, at 30 years old, at the absolute peak of his powers, announces his retirement from basketball. He had just won his 3rd straight championship. He was unstoppable, and he walked away. The official reason? Grief. He said he had lost the motivation to play after his father's death. He said he needed time to heal. The media ate it up. Fans were heartbroken. And the sports world moved on. But behind closed doors, a very different story was being told. According to the Gambling Insider, Jordan didn't retire because he wanted to. He retired because he was told to. The source said it plainly. He was told to leave the league because stories were about to come out, and there was a lot of heat on the fact that because of Michael's gambling habit, his father paid the price. Let that marinate. The greatest basketball player on the planet, the guy who was making the league hundreds of millions of dollars, was forced out. Not because of poor performance, not because of injury, but because the league was terrified of what would happen if the truth came out. Think about the timing. Jordan's father is murdered in July. By October, Jordan is gone. 3 months. That's it. 3 months for the league to assess the damage, weigh their options, and decide that the safest move was to make Jordan disappear for a while. And what does Jordan do? He goes to play baseball. Baseball, a sport he hadn't played since high school. A sport where he was, by all accounts, mediocre at best. Does that make any sense to you? Because it didn't make sense to anyone at the time either. But if you know the real reason he left, it makes perfect sense. Baseball was the cover story. It was a way to keep Jordan in the public eye without him being too visible. It was a way to let the scandal die down without making it look like he was running away. And most importantly, it bought the league time. The source continued. The league didn't want the press, so they asked him to leave for a while. That's when he went to play baseball. And then, when things settled down, he came back. The plan was always, from what I was told, for him to come back. So this wasn't a spontaneous decision. This was a calculated move by one of the most powerful sports organizations in the world to protect their biggest asset. They knew that if the truth about Jordan's gambling came out, especially if it was connected to his father's murder, it would destroy the league's reputation, so they made him disappear. They let the story fade, and when enough time had passed, they brought him back like nothing ever happened. And it worked. Because when Jordan returned to basketball in 1995, the world welcomed him with open arms. No one asked hard questions. No one demanded investigations. The narrative was simple. March 1995. Michael Jordan announces his return to basketball with 2 words, "I'm back." And just like that, the greatest player in the world is back on the court. The media goes wild. Fans lose their minds. And the league breathes a sigh of relief because their golden boy is home. But here's what nobody talks about. Why was he allowed to come back so easily? Why was there no investigation into the gambling rumors? Why did the media just accept the story at face value and move on? Because the league made sure of it. They controlled the narrative, they controlled the press, and they made damn sure that no one dug too deep into what really happened in 1993. The source who revealed all of this made it clear. The plan was always for him to come back once things settled down. This wasn't some spontaneous return fueled by Jordan's love of the game. This was orchestrated. The league waited for the heat to die down, for the murder investigation to go cold, for the public to forget about the gambling rumors. And then, when the coast was clear, they brought him back. And it worked flawlessly. Jordan went on to win 3 more championships. He cemented his legacy as the greatest of all time. And the dark chapter of 1993, it became a footnote. A tragic story about a son losing his father, not a scandal about gambling debts and murder. We don't know yet. The investigation is ongoing, and details are scarce. But the fact that it's happening at all tells you everything you need to know. This story isn't over. It never was. The source who shared this information was careful to say he doesn't have first-hand knowledge of every detail. He said, "I don't know the specifics, but putting it all together, knowing that Michael did have this gambling issue, it's very possible that could have happened." And here's the thing. Even if we don't have 100% proof, the circumstantial evidence is overwhelming. The timeline, the sudden retirement, the baseball stint that made no sense, the fact that the league never investigated the gambling rumors, the fact that the murder was quickly labeled a random robbery and then buried. And now, in 2025, the FBI is involved. They're searching Jordan's home. They're looking for evidence. And they're not doing that unless they have a damn good reason. The question is, what did they find? Financial records showing large cash withdrawals? Communications with known bookies? Evidence that Jordan's debts were never fully settled? Or maybe something even bigger evidence that the league knew what was happening and helped cover it up? We don't have those answers yet. But one thing is clear. The truth is finally starting to come out. And when it does, it's going to shake the sports world to its core. Michael Jordan is still the greatest basketball player of all time. That will never change. But his legacy? That's about to get a whole lot more complicated. So here's the question we need to ask ourselves. Did the sports league sacrifice the truth to protect their greatest star? Did they know what really happened to James Jordan and decide it was better to bury it than let it destroy their empire? And if the FBI really found evidence in 2025, why are we only hearing whispers and not headlines? Because the powerful don't like being exposed. They don't like losing control of the narrative. But the truth has a way of coming out eventually. And when it does, it's going to be impossible to ignore. What do you think? Was James Jordan's murder really just a random robbery? Or was it connected to Michael's gambling debts? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this conversation is far from over. If you want to stay updated on this story and other explosive sports scandals that the media doesn't want you to know about, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We're just getting started. New revelations are dropping every week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Subscribe now, and let's uncover the truth together.